Good morning guys, and welcome back. We are working on some tomato powder today. It is something I have mentioned in my previous videos as what I am saving my skins for. So I thought I would bring you along for the full process and share with you how easy it can be to use up every little bit of your tomatoes possible. The first part of this whole process is to give your tomatoes a really good wash. Since you are using the skins, you want to make sure that they are nice and clean to begin with. I don't use any sort of insecticide or any chemicals in my garden whatsoever, so I'm less worried about having something nasty on the skins and more worried about just getting the dirt off, but giving them a good wash to start with is a really good idea. The next step is to top and core your tomatoes and then cut a small cross in the bottom of your tomato skin to help with the peeling process. To be more efficient with our time, I also have a saucepan here coming up to a boil and a large bowl here filled with some ice chunks to make a cold bath to place our tomatoes in once we have finished boiling them for a few seconds. With the water boiling, drop in 4 to 5 tomatoes at a time and let them boil for a few seconds, basically until you see the skin start to peel back from the cuts that you made on the bottom of the tomato. Now for the most tedious part, which is actually pulling off the skins. I have prepped my dehydrator tray with some parchment paper, and that is what I am laying the skins on. As far as actually peeling, for the most part it should be really easy for the skin to come off. If it doesn't, you can always pop them back into the boiling water for a few more seconds, and that should help. I'm also trying to avoid any blemishes or marks on the skin and just throwing those parts of the skin out. I know I have mentioned in some of my previous videos saving the skins from the frozen tomatoes that I was using in my canning recipe, and I just want to let you guys know that after some experimentation I have found that those skins do not do well in the dehydrator. They do dehydrate out a little bit, but they never reach the point where I would be confident that blitzing them up that they would become a powder. I think it has something to do with the fact that just a little bit more of the flesh stays with the skin during the frozen peeling process versus this boiling and then chilling process. So I just don't think that it's the best way to get to tomato powder or really a good option. So if you guys have tips for that, I would be more than interested in hearing them, or if you have had success with using your frozen tomato skins for tomato powder, I would love to hear what you're doing to make that happen. So that is the last of them. I am going to put my trays into the dehydrator at around 135, maybe 140. Check on them every couple of hours until I feel like they are completely dried all the way through. Of course, you are also left with your tomatoes after this process, which you can now use in any recipe that you would like. These guys are going to end up as either stewed tomatoes or canned tomatoes. I will post that recipe probably in the next video. It's been about 2 hours since I put my tomato skins into the dehydrator, and as you can see, they are super dehydrated. They're very light, crisp, crunchy, however you want to say that, and they are perfect for making into a powder. You could probably do this process in a number of different ways. I have a bullet blender, and with this small of an amount, I find that that works best, but you could use probably a regular blender and or a processor, or like a food processor, and you would get the same results. I also use a fine mesh sieve to kind of get my particulates out slowly but surely, so that I get a nice fine powder. there we have it, you guys. It may take a couple times of re-blending to get everything blended down. And as you saw, I passed it through a fine mesh sieve at the end there to get a nice fine powder. This is a great substitute for recipes that need only like a tablespoon of tomato paste. I was always ending up with cans of tomato paste in my fridge because I would only need a small amount of that can. You can replace it with about a tablespoon of this powder instead, and you won't have a bunch of leftover tomato paste sitting around. If you guys like content like this, please let me know by liking and subscribing, and I will see you guys next time.